So I have an important life update. I was able to get a new MacBook and it's really awesome. The thing is with this one, I really do like it. It's just that the charger broke and then I ordered one online, but then it didn't come. It was supposed to come on like the 13th and then it didn't show up. And then I was like, hey guys, can I have a refund? And then they were like, okay, we're gonna pick it up at your place. And then they tried to pick it up at my place, but then it didn't actually end up coming. But this is what I would do. I would decorate like this laptop like this. Like this is a case that I decorated by myself with like all my favorite cartoons. But the first, okay, so this is what I'm going to be using to answer the questions. So this one says, any cartoons that you want to get into. That, oh, my charger. Okay, because it's like, it's on low battery mode. There's not too much left. So there's a bunch of different cartoons that I would actually really be able to get into. It's just that, like, since I've been doing so much schoolwork and stuff, it will be a bit hard, but I want to be able to manage my time because, like, this question actually reunited, like, my love. Even though I didn't fall out of love, it's just that, like, since I have school so much, I can't really watch very much, but it showed me how much that I've been missing out on because there's actually so much things that I would want to watch and I like, and sometimes I'll kind of get into, like, a slump where it's like I'll watch like, a really good show and then, like, I'm looking for something else that I want to watch, but then I'm like, oh, like, I feel like fatigue because I'm like, I don't want to pick something because then I can't watch all the other stuff I like. But okay, so this is what I want to watch. I would love to watch Ducktales. There's a specific meme from Danny Putty because he's in the show and I like watching anything that he's in because I literally love the actor even though I only watch him in Community. But he says to, I think it's Larry King, he's like, Larry, I'm on Ducktales.
Larry, I'm on Ducktales.
Or something like that. It's really funny. I actually wanted to watch that because I saw that the creator of the Owl House also worked like on that show or something like that, so I thought that was really interesting. And I just heard that that show has like a really good like plot and it's like interesting and it's also like story driven because I really like story cartoons. I wanted to watch Shera because I've seen like I don't even know who is like who in the show, but I kept on seeing edits of like some like cat girl or something and I thought that was like really cool, so I wanted to watch it. I wanted to watch Big City Greens. I was like trying to watch it because when I first got like Disney Plus like years ago, I was like, what is this Big City Green thing? And I watched like 2 episodes and I really liked it because I find that Disney Channel would always like make ads for the show or like make like a combination of some sort of like marketing that had Big City Greens, but then I was always like, what is this? Like I like the animation, like the artwork, and then I just never watched it again, so I want to watch it again. I also wanted to get into the Ghost and Molly Mcgee because I heard that that was good, and also like I like to be in like a fandom that isn't super popular so that I can be like, I was here early like before the hype and stuff. So I wanted to watch that one. I wanted to get into American Dragon again because I watched it when I was younger, but it's like I like to rewatch stuff from when I was younger because then I'll actually be able to like digest the story better and apply it to my life more now that I've had more experiences that I actually am aware of. Like it's just cool to rewatch stuff when you're younger and understand it in like a different way. I would really like to watch Stoked because I just finished watching 16. That was the last cartoon that I watched like not too long ago, and I would watch 16 every single morning to like stretch. But then I wanted to watch Stoked because it's like I love Jennifer Persh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, Jennifer Persh and Tom Gillis, because they are the creators of Total Drama. They created Total Drama, they also created 16, they also created Stoked, and like that 3 chains of like Canadian cartoons, like I absolutely love them and like the work that they've done. Like they've just made like such like great cartoons, and even though like Stoked isn't as popular as 16, I think that the story is super cool, and I've been seeing people in the comment section saying that they use like music from like indie bands and stuff, and I thought that was cool. And like since I like a show like Outer Banks a lot, I think it would be cool to watch something like Stoked. I wanted to be able to actually finish Adventure Time because I never finished that show. I watched like one season of Adventure Time and I really liked it, but then I was actually never able to finish it. Not that it did anything wrong, it's just that like I will like watch something and be like really focused on it, and then I'll be like, oh, like this is like the only thing that I ever want to do in like my life, and then like I just don't like end up finishing it. It was like that for Regular Show. I literally watched like 3 seasons of Regular Show at some point, and then I just didn't watch it again, so then I had to rewatch all of it because it's like I don't like picking up where I left off. It's like I need to be like so deeply focused and like entrenched in like one thing at a time so that like my life can like revolve around it and its characters, and so that I can apply like the story like directly back to my life and be able to understand and like relate to it. So that's what I wanted to do with Adventure Time. It's just that Adventure Time is like 11 seasons. Oh, I don't know. Adventures in, I don't know the exact amount of seasons, but also I wanted to watch Steven Universe. That's a cartoon that I actually never watched before. Really surprisingly, like, a lot of people have asked me if I've watched it. Like, I've gotten a lot of comments about that, but I've never watched it before. Like, I always wanted to watch it because I've seen people make like collaboration edits of it in Gravity Falls, like back in the day, like in like 2015, 2016 kind of, but then I just never watched it. But I know that it's like one of the most popular cartoons, and I used to actually use like audios of it that was popular and trending on TikTok at the time in like 2019, like when I was in like grade 9 in high school. I remember it was like super popular. Like, yeah. Also, Amazing World of Gumball. Once again, I watched like one season of it and I really liked it. And I used to always watch it as a kid, but I didn't watch it like consecutively, like in order. So I would like to be able to watch it in order, because I don't like watching something but then I don't watch it all the way through. Like, even say if something has like 7 seasons and I didn't finish it and I just had a period of time where I didn't watch anymore, like I want to finish it all like consecutively so I can get like a full understanding of the story, even if it's not like story driven and it's more like episodic. So I'd like to watch Rick and Morty too. Rick and Morty is another show where it's like I just literally never finished it. I finished like 2 seasons and I was like, oh my god, like this is Oscar from Fishhooks. And literally, like, I used to like Rick and Morty so much to the point where my fashion sense in grade 10 was just Rick and Morty shirts. Like, I would wear like a Rick and Morty, like I had a Rick and Morty shirt collection. I would wear like Rick and Morty shirts, and it would be like Rick and Morty shirt, and then it'd be like a turtleneck because it's like the e-boy style was like trending at the time. So I'd wear that, and then I would wear like my Vans, and I thought like I was so cool because honestly, like I did look really cool, but it's just that like I never actually finished the series because I took a break for like 7 years. So I may watch it again because I really like the voice actor for Oscar from Fishhooks. That, like, a lot of people would associate him as being Morty, but it's like I will only ever associate him as being Oscar from Fishhooks. And Fishhooks is actually another show that I'd like to rewatch, even though I definitely finished it when I was younger. It's just that it would be cool to rewatch when you're older. And also I like the fact that Alex Hirsch voices Clementa. And Samurai Jack would be cool because I remember like I had a classmate in high school and they would talk to me about it because they would talk about how much they loved like Samurai Jack and OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. And I think Craig of the Creek would be really cool because I like the art style. It looks really cute. Like, I don't know too much of the show. Like, well, his name is Craig and probably going to be doing something with like wildlife, I guess. But it just like looks like cool. I would like it. I watched Avatar, but The Legend of Korra, I watched like 5 episodes and I never finished it. Teen Titans, I never watched. Wander Over Yonder is something that I want to watch because apparently people that have worked on Gravity Falls actually worked on that show. When I was younger, I didn't really like the show for some reason, but I think that I would actually like it now because it kind of gives me like a Star versus the Forces of Evil vibe in some ways. We Bear Bears, I would like to watch that show. Milo Murphys Law is something that I literally watched like a season and a half of it, and it's like, because I was so obsessed with Phineas and Ferb, and something that I try to do is that like I will try to watch like the successor or whatever of like a show. I don't know if I'm using that word right, but like the successor of a show, even if it's like not connected to it, it's like the same people that made it. It's like I wanted to watch it for that reason, but I could never get like super into it, but I would still like to actually be able to watch it. And I think it would be cool to watch Bluey because I hear so many people talk about Bluey. The Penguins of Madagascar, because I used to watch it a lot when I was younger. The Loud House is something that I want to watch because a lot of cartoons fans always talk about how they like it so much, and I always talk about seeing like how people like relate to like the different characters. I think like the Looney Tunes show is something that I used to watch all of the time when I was younger, and I will always see like clips of like Lola Bunny being like super funny. Like she'll like call Bug and be like, Bug will be like, how do you get my number? And she's like, oh, like, she'll be like, hey Bug. And then he'll be like, how do you know it was me calling? I didn't even give you my number. And then she'll be like, I was just practicing every time if it was you. Like,
Hi, Bugs.
How'd you know it was me?
Oh, I answer every call like this, just in case it's you.
I just think it's really funny. Rapunzel, Tangled Adventure. I really love Tangled. I literally watched that movie like 30 times in my life. And I think also it'd be cool to watch the 7D as well. I used to watch the show when I was younger, but I wanted to actually be able to like finish the story now that I have a brain that can actually remember things and is functional. Dude, okay, for this first part, the footage actually ended up getting lost, but it was my top 5 favorite cartoons, and the first I was saying that it was Gravity Falls, which is of course my favorite show of all time. I got multiple questions about this show, so you'll be able to see throughout the video my enthusiasm for it. But then next I was talking about Amphibia, and I was talking about how much I like Amphibia because of Marcy Wu's character, and I was explaining about how that I think that sometimes the fandom, from discussions I've seen, it can seem that like Marcy will overshadow Anne a bit. I did feel like for me personally I resonated a bit more with Marcy's character, but I really like Anne, and I like her dynamic with Sprig because it shows that you can just have platonic friendships with someone of the opposite gender, which I thought was like really cool. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about that more in the next clip. Marcy. So yeah, like when I saw Marcy, and I just saw that like her friends are not really that understanding of all of her individual interests. It's just like it can be difficult to find people to connect to like in that way, and it's like people will be like, oh, like you need to learn to enjoy your things like by yourself, but it's like that's a really easy thing to say when it's like you are always able to find community in the sense that you can always interact with people that enjoy the things that you like. And it's like it's not even that like all of the stuff that I like is necessarily like the most specific thing ever in the world, because it's like, for example, even like cartoons, like that's something that's pretty like popular. Like most people know these shows, like a lot of these shows like air on Disney Channel, like these companies are massive and like they advertise these and push these out a lot. But it's just that like I sometimes feel like I like these things in such like an intimate way, and like people don't like view it in the same way. Like it's kind of more so like a casual thing, and it's just like I feel like a lot of the times like in friendships, when I talk to people, it's like it's hard for me to connect with them if they are not necessarily being able to engage with things that I literally use as a tool to be able to understand like different aspects of myself as a person. So just when like they don't get that, like I can completely see like Marcy's perspective, and she did do wrong with wanting to never leave her hometown and constantly stay with her friends. Like she did wrong, and everything that happened with King Andreas, like that, like I do think that that was like Marcy's fault, unfortunately, everything with the music box. But it's like I can just really relate to her perspective in that way. So it's like Amphibia is just so incredible for that. Like Amphibia is just like such an amazing story, and I was so completely like surprised in how much it like meant to me, because at first when I was watching the first season, because it's like there's 2 episodes like in one episode, because it's kind of like the similar format to like Phineas and Ferb. It's like a lot of Disney cartoons that I watch are more so like the 20-minute like, and it's like a full like story per episode, not like 2. So I was like intrigued kind of by that, but at first it was kind of like it was like hard for me to watch. But I think also at this time too, like I was spending a lot of time on TikTok, so it's like my attention span wasn't the way that I like would probably have a better time. I have rewatched Amphibia like a little, but it's like I would probably have a better time watching it now that I've like trained my mind to be a bit more like focused. But really like Amphibia, regular show. I absolutely love regular show, dude. Like I literally watched all of it like last year in 2024. I started it, watched like 3 seasons sometime in the earlier 2024, but then I never actually ended up finishing it. I watched 3 seasons and I was like, I didn't give up. It's just that I forgot that I was watching it, and then I actually ended up watching it again, and I finished it all the way through, and I just didn't realize how much I could feel like I could relate to the characters and like connect with the story, just like Mordecai and Rigby's friendship. It's like the specific episode when it was like Rigby's graduation, it's like he was finally moving up in life, and then like Mordecai was being like shady, and he was saying that like I couldn't handle that like you were finally doing better than me, because I felt like the dynamic of our friendship, like I like the fact that I always did better than you, and it's like now you're leveling up and doing all this stuff, and you're like with Eileen, you have a girlfriend, you're finally like graduating high school, like I don't know who I am as much now that I'm not doing better than you. Like that's like a really vulnerable thing to say, but it's also like the fact that like people always talk about how like selfish and stuff Mordecai can be, and it's like I do think that that's like a selfish thing to say, but it's like a lot of people, especially like in terms of friendship, would never be willing to admit the fact that they viewed you as like a competition, or like the only time that they can feel good about themselves is when people that are closely related to them are not doing super well. Like I think it takes a lot for a person to say that. Now though, like I can't see people's perspective, because it's like Rigby like pushed Mordecai, or like Mordecai pushed Rigby, and then like Rigby like literally like evaporated in that one episode. But like I just think that that's like a really like vulnerable thing to say, and it's like that really like tested their friendship. Like I think that was like excellent that like Dude You Can Tell just put that, because it's like that's like really true. Like a lot of people feel like they're friends with someone, but then it's like when they see their friend like leveling up and doing things for themselves, whether it be like their friend is dedicating themselves to have like a better fashion sense, or their friend is just like doing like self-help, but not like in a cheesy way, like you go to the bookstore and buy like a random like self-help book that's telling you to take like a bunch of detox and like laxatives. Like no, like actual self-help, like bettering yourself and just realizing that like you don't have to subscribe to hierarchy very much in your life. Like you don't really need to be like the absolute like best at something to be secure in who you are. Like just find things that you really genuinely enjoy doing and like pursuing relationships with people, and that will make you feel good about yourself. Like a lot of people, they don't know what to do, and it's like they can't be in the position and a dynamic where it's like they are not the one that is doing the best. But it just goes to show that some relationships will not stand the test of like hierarchy. Like if you focus on that a lot, like your friendship will never, you'll never be able to have like really close relationships with people, because there will always be a time or someone that will be better than you, and that's just something that you have to be able to understand and be able to digest. So I just thought that that was like a really cool moment. On top of that, I really like Total Drama Island and World Tour. I specifically put those like half and half, like not like 4 and 5, but just like those two together, because like Total Drama Island, like as I said before, like Tom Gillis and like Jennifer, I don't know how to pronounce her name, like Jennifer Persh, like I just like when I watch Total Drama, I just feel like so proud to be Canadian, because I see like the global popularity of it, and I just felt like something that I really love about it is that like it has a story. Like I really love watching cartoons that like have a story and it's like consistent. I just thought that like the format of it with like the competition show in it, and then like all of the characters are unique, and like although like it isn't the best to have characters that are like stereotypical, like based on stereotype, like the characters that are like based on stereotype, like the fat one, the punk, the sassy black woman, the know-it-all, the like the white nerd, whatever Harold is. But anyway, just like characters like that, it's like it's not always good to have them based on stereotypes, but I find that for Total Drama, like it does work, and it's just like such a cool show, and it's like unique because it's like you never really see like a cartoon that has that type of like format. I just think that World Tour, like for me, what made World Tour was the fact that they're singing. Like I know that there's like, and kind of like, I'm not sure if it's like an unpopular opinion, but a lot of people have said that like they actually don't really like the singing, but it's like the singing was so good, and I even like the songs even more now, because it's like when you get older and you watch a television show that you were actually able to watch when you were younger, you realize how like insanely clever like the writers are behind all these things, and it also makes you realize how like multifaceted and talented the people are that are voice acting for these shows. Like Courtney had such a beautiful singing voice. Like I liked Heather's singing voice. It's funny because I saw posts saying that Cody's voice actor didn't actually really like to sing, and people always make jokes about Total Drama World Tour talking about how that like Cody never actually really sang that much. He sang his Anaconda song. No, he sang his Condor song. Anaconda is Nicki Minaj, but he sang his Condor song, and then he kind of like clocked out. But for example, like in We Built Gwen's Face, he barely like sung. He doesn't really sing. But anyway, just like Total Drama World Tour is like a really unique story, and I wanted to say that like the inclusion of Alejandro just like made the season for me, because Alejandro is probably one of my favorite Total Drama characters, like any like evil protagonist of all time. They kind of like destroyed him when they made him bow down to Mike's alter ego and like his personality. I don't really know why they did that, because it's just like Alejandro would not do that. It's like, yeah, sure, maybe like Alejandro's new like voice actor, which people complained about that voice actor, but it's like I like them. It's just like I get what people mean. Like you want like you feel more comfortable with someone that has been there forever. Like I liked Alejandro's original voice actor as well, but I find that person had like a good performance. But it's like Alejandro would never actually bow down to Mal. And neither would Duncan. Like Duncan was like, I knew Mal and Juvie. It's like, okay, dude. Like none of you would bow down. You're telling me Duncan's gonna bow down to Mal? You're telling me Alejandro. Like you're telling me that the male Heather's gonna bow down to Mal. Anywho. But yeah, I just think that that's a really unique show. And also, I really like The Owl House. The Owl House is a show that I actually was able to watch. One of the most popular Disney cartoons as well. But The Owl House was a show that I was actually able to watch. I think in 2021 was when I first watched it. I just kind of like, at the beginning of high school, I was more so focused on like events that were like happening like in my life, because I was trying to like make friends and like build relationships at school. Like I kind of felt like I like lost a part of myself because I wasn't like as focused into my hobbies as I was now, which I kind of like regret doing in many ways. But I hope you maybe explain that in like a later video. But anyway, like in 2021 was when I started to get like back into cartoons and like stuff that I liked from when I was younger, and like I was watching like The Owl House, and I was like, this is so like interesting, because I heard a lot of people say that it's similar to Gravity Falls in like some ways, because it's kind of like that trope that like a lot of like really like great like Disney cartoons had, where it's like someone's going into like a new world and like there's like magic, like there's always some like magic element, like it's like a normal person going into like a different world or like a different or like someone that's normal is like facing like magic, or someone that's like magical, something like that. But the Owl House is just really cool for that. And I love, once again, Lou's story, feeling that like she feels like different from other people, and she didn't feel like she was able to like fit into her school. Like I felt like I could really like relate to that, and just like Ida and Hootie and Amity, like I really like the fact that there was like representation on the show, because that was like so that was so like cool in Disney. Although they kind of canceled it for like that reason, because they were like, oh, like it's so cool that we have people that are part of the LGBTQ community, but then also they were like, oh, like we kind of don't want this to air like on our channel though, guys, because, but then like in Disney Plus they added like a section for like LGBTQ, and then put like the Owl House, and then I was like, interesting, because didn't you literally like cancel the show for that reason? But anyway, I just find it really cool, like the inclusion. Okay, I got a question asking who my favorite Owl House character is. I kind of covered this previously in another question, but my favorite Owl House character would definitely have to be Luz, because I just find that I resonate a lot with her character, like feeling like you're different from the world around you, and also wanting to go into like a new world so that you can really be able to like find yourself and find people that you relate to and have similar interests to you. Like I relate a lot to characters like Luz and Marcy Wu, because I just find that I feel the same way as them, and I share the same perspective with them, and like wanting to be in a different environment sometimes that would be more accommodating to like what I'm interested in, be able to like build relationships with people who also feel in a similar way. So I got another question. Ooh, let's see. All of these are like so good. What is your, oh, this is one was actually by my friend Luke. What is your comfort cartoon that you watch all the time? A comfort cartoon that I watch all the time is Gravity Falls. That's the cartoon that I probably rewatch like the most often. Like I'll always have just like a day where it's like I'll literally watch like probably 3/4 of just season 1, because it's so comforting. Like I'll just spend the day like watching like a bunch of different episodes, and it just makes me feel so like nostalgic, and I just like love every single one. Like I love like every single individual episode for like its own like jokes and like gags. Like I love like Tour Shop, because I particularly love the intro where it's like taking her easy, and
taking her easy.
then I really like the one with like the parody of like the Loch Ness monster, because it was actually McGucket that ends up controlling the machine, and then he says to Dipper and Mabel when they're in like the cave, because they went there for safety, they were like, McGucket was like, and I exploded the downtown area, or I
Exploded the entire downtown area.
I love the Dipper versus Manliness episode, because I love the Dipper versus Manliness episode, because when Dipper is with like the Manitors, one of the Manitors is like, I have fists for nipples.
Y chromosomes, 6 Adam's apples, and fists for nipples.
And that was just so funny. So Gravity Falls is definitely like one of my comfort cartoons. Like definitely it's probably the one that I rewatch so much. My favorite My Little Pony character is Sunset Shimmer, because I used to always watch, I particularly really like to watch like this specific Equestria Girls movie, although I was never like, I want to get more into the My Little Pony franchise. I was always like aware of it, and I would see like toys. I remember when I was younger, I used to always play with like the My Little Pony like sets of toys of value, which was always like a gigantic like Rainbow Dash that was just donated, and I would always play with them when I went thrifting with my mom when I was younger. But I really like Sunset Shimmer. Sunset Shimmer is definitely super cool. Who's my favorite Total Drama Island character? My favorite Total Drama Island character, I mentioned this previously when I was talking about Total Drama Island. I really like Alejandro, because I just think that he is one of the best like cartoon villains, and it's like I just really love how much like he added to the story, because I think it was really cool to have a character like him, like a male character that was villainous in a way that actually made sense. Because what they tried to do with like Justin and Total Drama Action is like, yeah, like I get it, but that just wasn't really like working for me. So I really loved how like evil he was, but then I also love how he was like the male Heather, and I just think that like it adds like an extra element to him being a villain, the fact that he actually like genuinely did like take an interest in Heather. Although he saw her as his like biggest competitor, he had like an underlying love for her, which I found to be really cool, super interesting. Another question: do you like anime, and if so, which are your favorites? I do like watching anime, but I would say that I'm more of a cartoon person. But my favorite anime of all time, I would say, was Death Note. I still remember when I watched it in grade 11 in 2021, like in the summertime, my mind was like absolutely blown because I never really watched anime before that. Like, I mean, when I was younger, my brothers really liked Dragon Ball Z and like Naruto. Like, they had a bunch of Naruto like games, and they had a bunch of like Dragon Ball Z games, and I used to play those frequently. Like, I really liked the character Frieza. I remember I used to always play as him, and I used to always play as Vegeta as well. Like, I liked his skills in the game. However, Death Note was just so cool because I liked like the philosophical element of it. Like, because on the one hand you had L, who wanted to just fight crime in a way that was a bit more moral, but then Light like wanted to be like the god of the world and like end all crime, but it was for more of like a self-serving purpose. And I just like the fact that it has like philosophical elements, but then it also has someone like Misa, who is like so fashionable. And it's like, when you even see like the manga, like all of her outfits and stuff, like Death Note, although I do like dressing in black at times, I prefer to dress more colorful, but I do like wearing black at times too. Like, Misa is a really big inspiration because I really loved her like Lolita style outfit, like towards like the end of the show when she this is a spoiler, but when she like passed away. I thought that was like really cool. So I definitely love Death Note, and I like Saki K because it's just like, it's so like fun, and I really like how he has like his little like gimmick with like the coffee jellies. I always wanted to try coffee jelly, even though I don't like jelly, but I also find that Saki is also fashionable, which like surprised me, although I wouldn't necessarily associate this to be a fashion style anime such show. He's just like really like stylish, and he wears like cool outfits and stuff, and I just think it's so like funny, like how he says like little stuff to himself. I just really like it. It's been like a pretty long time since I watched it, but I really like Saki K. Those two animes, I like them a lot. I kind of had like a little bit of an anime phase in 2020 because that's when like I first like really got into it more, because it was like trending a lot on TikTok, and it was like quarantine, and it's like a lot of these fandoms, although they have already been there for years, like they were building up even more and more because a lot of people got more comfortable with exploring like different interests because they had so much different free time. I was also in the same boat with like anime where I was like watching a bunch of different kinds, but I would definitely have to say that Death Note, Saki K, and also Machiko and Hatchin, I really did like that anime, and I like the fact that the story was continuous. I really like, I don't necessarily know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but I really like Machiko Melandrio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, as I previously said, but I really like the outfits that she has. And I like how she just went on like this huge adventure to find her, I didn't watch it in a long time, so correct me if I'm wrong, but she was trying to find like her love or like the father of her child, and she was going on like a bunch of these like different like adventures and stuff. And I really like the setting, and I like the fact that she was also black, because I typically don't see too many like black characters in anime that are represented in a way that isn't like a minstrel or like a caricature of what they think like a black person would be. Like, I really liked her character design and her outfit. So yeah, I would definitely have to say those three, I like them a lot.